Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I'm Tank StarCraft here with a Zerg vs Protoss replay analysis. Big thank you to Imbalisk for sending me this replay. This will be a Master vs Master game that we're looking at. And our Zerg hero today, Imbalisk, says he's having a little bit of trouble with Protoss all-ins. And honestly, that is not uncommon nowadays. Especially with the amount of players that are opening like a gateway expand into 4-gate or more. You see all kinds of early attacks as early as like 7:30 to 8:30. These first warp-ins are coming in. And they're really tough for Zerg to deal with. What I've been doing is delaying a third base. Like, I know the standard approach to ZvP is to get your third up quite quickly, but when I scout that my opponent has gone for a gateway expand, I don't treat it like I would a Forge Fast expand. I treat it like, just to give an example, like for a Forge Fast expand, I would probably take my third very quickly, drone up to like full 3-base saturation nice and early, but I don't feel comfortable doing that against a gateway expand just because of the type of gateway timings that they can be doing. So what I'll do instead is I'll get the +1, I'll get the speed for the roaches, I'll go up to lair really quickly around 6 minutes, and I'll expand later once I feel safe. Once I've fully saturated 2-base with at least 3 to 4 gas, once I've got some roaches out. And I feel like that gives me a lot of comfort in the early stages. If he all-ins with like 5 to 7 gateways off 2-base, then I feel like I can just pump roaches and hold it. But also I can push out with speed roaches and +1. If he takes an early third, I can all-in him, in fact, off of that economy if I feel he's being too greedy. Or I can just drone up my third and move to Hydras and eventually Vipers. So that's my approach, and I'm going to see how Imbalisk deals with his opponent in this game. Based on the pylon, it looks like it's going to be a gateway expand. Yep. Unfortunately, we will not get that scouting info as early as we'd like. We'll see if this Overlord makes the correct... Maybe could have realized it a little earlier, but that's fine. This Overlord, actually, can be pretty important if you put it somewhere like here. I'm pretty sure you could maybe come around here and like scout the gateway count, but more importantly, you can poke in with this Overlord and see how many gases he has at his expansion. And if he's only got the main gases, the main 2 gases, and he doesn't take his expansion gases, you can be assured that it's 99% of the time it's going to be a gateway timing. It is possible that he'd take a fast third, so you want to watch for that, but I would say if he has no gases at the expansion and no third, it's almost always an all-in, or at least significant pressure. Speaking of which, Imbalisk has gone for a good build this game. Gasless for the most part, taking the expansion early, but he is going to get this third around 5 minutes. And I just want to say, like, this is fairly reasonable. If it were me, I would have already scouted by now that he's gone gateway expand, and I probably wouldn't do this. I would probably just continue droning, get the first gas filled up, and move towards lair by 6 minutes. Because I feel safer with that type of build. But we'll see how Imbalisk does. So he gets there. This is actually really important. He did not see how many gateways were built at the front. He saw the Zealot out, so he knows it's not like a Forge Fast expand or anything like that. He knows it's a gateway expand, but the problem right now is he doesn't know how many gateways. He doesn't know the tech of the Protoss. And I am not the kind of player that sends an Overlord in from here or from here. Some players will to scout it. I'm more the kind of person that's going to take a look at the front and make deductions based on what I see there. So what I would be doing, I assume there's another Ling on the field somewhere, but what I would be doing with any other Lings is just like sitting here, essentially, making sure I don't lose those Lings, but also just poking and seeing, is he building more gateways at the front? And one of the big things you're looking for at the front is a Forge. That's what's going to indicate that he's taking another base, probably. Usually they get the Forge at the front if they are, but if you just see 2 gateways or 3 gateways, very likely that you're going to be seeing earlier than usual pressure. So we do see 2 gateways at the front, which actually could mean a lot of things. That doesn't mean an all-in. We actually see another gateway, though, in the main. So the way I would say it is this. Like, you're not going to realistically scout the Cyber Core and all the gateways every time, but at the very least, you should be poking at the front and seeing if there's a lack of a Forge. The lack of a Forge is a big tell, in my opinion. So for me, in this game, like, warning bells would be going off. First of all, he's got at least 3 gateways. He's gone for the gateway expand, so he's going to be able... At least going to have the option of pressuring with Stalkers and Zealots and Sentries and stuff. So, just looking at our hero's build here, I would say, given this information, you need to be getting 2 gases earlier, and probably the Roach Warren at least by now, at least by 6 minutes, even with this expansion. You need to have 2 gases started and the Roach Horn going down. Probably Ling speed. I would say Roach Ling. Some sort of combination of like 2 gas Roach Ling. No lair would be probably the best bet of getting enough units out to hold your third. So there's the 2 gas. Like I said, I kind of like it from an economic standpoint. He's taking these gases when it doesn't cut into his 2 base economy. But just because of no forge, just because of at least 3 gateways, I would be getting these 2 gas a bit earlier and the Roach Warren a bit earlier as well. And I would drone to about the point he is now, which is about full 2 base saturation with 2 gas. I think that's 38 drones. And then I would be pumping all Roaches and Lings. So already, like, this is panic mode. The correct response, actually, we see from Imbalisk is putting the Roach Horn down, but I'm sure he's going to regret not having enough gas to start speed and not having the Roach Horn out yet. Because I don't think there's going to be any way to hold this third base once we start getting warp-ins of 4 Stalkers, 4 Zealots. Oh yeah, you're not going to be able to kill those in time, unfortunately. Oh, 1 Queen does go down. Trying to get the Lings out. See, here's part of the thing too, is our opponent is fully saturated on 2 base. Yes, he has the 4 gates. Yes, he's delayed his tech, but he's not all in. All he needs to do to make this work is essentially kill your third base, or maybe even just force enough units. So the real scary thing looking at this for me is if this player was the kind of person who puts down an additional 3 gateways, like goes for a real hardcore 2 base, 2 gas, 7 gate all in, there's no way in hell Imbalisk is going to hold it with that late of a Roach Horn and that late of Ling speed. So I personally would say error in the build for defending this type of pressure. Unfortunately, not going to get the units every time. Does have some Roaches building, does have the Ling speed, but that's already damage done, in my opinion. And you can see, like, Protoss is already starting to transition. Robo, probably the gases, yeah. And Zerg's going to be behind all game from here. But we are going to at least see how Imba tries to come back from this deficit. First of all, he's got to hold off all this stuff here. This will be close. The Roaches came out in the nick of time, the Queen. Just a little tip here. I would say get the Roaches or even this Queen tanking some of the damage, as opposed to the Lings. That way you can, 1, transfuse the Roaches, and then the Lings can come around and wrap around and kill stuff after. But at this rate, the Lings are going to be dying very quickly, and they could be getting more DPS if they stayed alive a little longer. It could be a little more efficient with that fight. Decent kiting there. Could be shoot moving a little more, but it does look like Imbalisk will hold, which is great news. And he was actually really smart to take this third at a good time. Knew he was going to lose it, retook it. It's already like half done, so that's great. These Roaches should be obviously cleaning up these pylons, though. And probably even, like, it's tough to scout this one, but ideally you're taking them all out. Like doing a little look around and see with a Ling all over the place. Especially now that speed's done. So now what do we got? We got lots of drones. We're trying to hit that full 2 base saturation with all the gas. And I'd like to see that lair now or even earlier. Probably 1 Evo chamber as well. Yeah, one of the problems for our Zerg Imbalisk here is I don't think he knows about the Robo. No. And he doesn't even have anything at his third. The Protoss third. So ideally, like, maybe this Overlord could come a little further up. Scout this lack of gas early on. Maybe help you deduce that he's going for that type of pressure, and then just sit perched over his third, because then you know that he is going to go for this follow-up. And it's going to be an Immortal Sentry all in, essentially. Yeah, we got a lot more gateways, total of 8 gates, so a very committed follow-up. And you'll see that quite often. Players will open like a 3 to 4 to 5 gateway pressure, and they'll put down additional gateways and maybe some tech behind it. Sometimes you'll see a third base, but often it's going to be something like this. So, what do we got? Well, Imbalisk, good game sense. He did a good job of saturating his main and natural. I forgot the 1 gas in the main, but honestly that one's not even as important right now. And got the lair, got the Evo chamber, +1 on the way. Very happy with the transition here. Like I said, maybe the lair could have been a bit earlier to get the Hydra Den a bit earlier, and maybe could scout this pylon. But for the most part, Imbalisk doing all the right things. I don't know about those 12 roaches. Maybe just a factor of not having vision on the map. But I probably would have waited, got this gas filled at least, and then started Hydras first. Like right now, I'd get the Hydra Den started, and I'd try to get like 8 to 12 Hydras as quickly as possible. And there's the 7 more drones to saturate the third. And I think you should probably stop there. After filling this gas and saturating 3 base with 4 gas total, I think that's enough to... There's no sense getting all the gas and going up to Hive or something when your opponent's on 2 bases. So, Imbalisk, yeah, Desperation Mode, bunch of Lings in production. I wish these were all Hydras first. Even getting a little supply blocked here. Looking at this, it's actually fairly close. If Imbalisk got a couple more Overlords early, got that gas a bit earlier, and started Hydra production a bit earlier, maybe could hold this. Ooh, gotta be careful. Roach speed, not done. Gotta be careful. A lot of roaches. Oh, the force field's low. Yeah, like I understand the tendency to want to get out there and like stop him from warping in more units and just get up in his face and hopefully kill those immortals, but moving off creep without speed for the roaches was definitely a mistake. I mean, did kill some stuff, but got caught, as we saw, and ideally would have been back on creep, waiting for those Hydras to come out, so you can get that one good engagement at the end. Like, if it were me, like, crisis mode, here's what I would be thinking. Like, build everything I can, Hydras, with the gas, keep those roaches alive, back on creep, and, like, inject one last time with each of the queens, use all the gas, we still got a bunch of minerals, build 3 more queens, bring those queens, this one, and this one, to the front, and... save up a bit of energy, transfuse the roaches, get as good of an engagement with Roach, Queen, Hydra as you can, while those additional queens rebuild. I think that would be the best bet of holding an attack like this. You're probably not going to do too well engaging midfield. And I wouldn't even get the Hydra upgrades in this scenario. If I were gas-starved and in a pinch, maybe the range, but I probably would just pump Roach Hydra. Definitely not the speed. We're not moving off creep for a while. Imbalisk trying to buy time, doing the best he can. Unfortunately lost those roaches though, and the roaches are very valuable with the Hydras for the defense. Yes, unfortunately the supply telling the tale. Just too much Protoss. And GG from Imbalisk. So good game. Like he made a good effort to come back into it. Just gonna go back a little bit and recap. Probably around here. So right now, this is around the time that you see it's a gateway expand and not a forge or nexus. So for me, I'm just looking at it. This would probably be the time I'd be taking the 2 gas. Especially if I'm getting the third, I would still probably be getting the 2 gas around now. And then, yeah, so your Ling dies. Ideally, you have another Ling to scout what he builds here. Maybe this Overlord to scout the gases. And around, at the very latest, probably now, 5:30, the 2 gas. And the Roach Warren should be going down about now, too. And then what you do is you put that first 100 gas into the speed, and then you pump Roach Ling until you hold your third. And if he doesn't attack you, you don't have to build a bunch of roaches. Like, you get the speed first, you build Lings first, and imagine he just had like 10, 12 Lings out, maybe can shut down that